Okay, good evening. We'll call the meeting of the Cromwell Board of Education to order at 7 o'clock. Alessandra, could you do roll call, please?
Mrs. Cantwell? Here. Mr. Flanders?
John, are you on the line? John Flanders? John? I thought I heard him, but he's not responding, so we'll continue.
Mrs. Kelleher?
Selena, are you on the line?
Here, yes.
Mrs. Lamberson? Here. Mr. McCullough?
Here.
Mr. Menendez?
He will not be joining us tonight.
Mrs. Murley?
Lindsay, are you on the line?
Here.
Lindsay's here.
Yep, I'm here.
Mrs. Rex?
Catherine, are you on the line? Catherine? I thought she was joining. I did hear one beep. John Flanders, did you join the meeting? John and Catherine, are you there? I'll text them. Keep going.
Hunter Boyce?
Hunter?
Devin Riggio?
Devin, are you on?
Here.
Dana?
Audrey?
Here.
Audrey's here.
Austin Basone?
Austin?
Mr. Furtenbach?
Steve cannot make it tonight.
Mr. Nato? Sorry.
Julius or John Ireland, are you on?
This is John. Can you hear me?
Yes, John, thank you. John Ireland from the Board of Finance. Okay, I believe Catherine is joining in a few minutes, and I have not heard from John. We'll give him one more chance. John Flanders, are you on? Okay. All right. Next item, approval of agenda and additions and deletions and chair's review of agenda highlights. So tonight we'll be focusing on the budget again. We'll have a further update as a follow-up to our last meeting and also a reopening plan update. So no changes. Is there a motion to approve the agenda? Motion by Lori, second by Jen. Comments, questions? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye. Aye.
Abstentions? The motion carries unanimously. Okay, next, celebrating our faculty staff. Dr. Macri.
Good evening, everyone. I am going to ask Mr. Butwell to unmute. Are you there, Mr. Butwell?
Yeah, I'm here. Good evening.
Great, thank you. We have amazing faculty and staff and students to celebrate from Woodside Intermediate School this evening, and I will turn it over to Mr. Butwell so he can talk about the accomplishments, and then we do have a video as well.
Thank you so much, Dr. Macri. So beginning with our faculty and staff, of course, this has been a very challenging year for everybody, but I wanted to take a moment and celebrate our humanities team, which would be our teachers that teach PE, science, music, library media, and art. And this group of teachers really have gone above and beyond because as part of our safety protocols at the beginning of the year, their classes all basically got moved to a cart. And instead of students coming to see them in their individual spaces, these teachers were on the move and now pushing into 21 classrooms a week to come see the students. So I just wanted to give a shout out to them and a thank you because this group of teachers have been so professional during the course of the year, not a complaint ever, and have just really taken every step possible to continue their programs for their students and, turn lemons into lemonade. So I wanted to say thank you to Jonathan Milo, our art teacher. He has adjusted his program to include more dry media projects, markers and crayons and pastels and so forth. He has taken it upon himself to order individual art supplies for students as he pushes in, rather than just banks of supplies for his classroom. So great job, Jonathan. I wanted to recognize Raylan Joffrey, our music teacher. If you can try to imagine teaching music to elementary schools by pushing into their classroom, it's very challenging. Singing had to be changed into other music units of study, and she's been super flexible and creative in the way that she approaches that. So congratulations and thank you to Raylan. Thank you to Dave McCabe, our band director. He figured out a way to go from single instrument type lessons to mixed groups based on cohorting so that we could help keep all of our students safe. And walked by the room today, saw some great trombone lessons going on. So Mr. McCabe continues to keep our band spirit going. So thank you, Mr. McCabe. I wanted to say thank you to Elizabeth Mashiak and Penny Glabelt, our PE teachers. They have gone above and beyond to come up with brand new games and activities that are more individually based rather than team based, so that the kids can still continue to get their physical skills and body development and also stay safe. So great job to that team. Thanks to Beth Organ, our library media specialist. She can no longer have kids come into her library and pick out books. She has initiated an electronic book program so that students can borrow ebooks, electronic books, and stream them, and then still enjoy literature that way. And she's also created many hands-on STEAM projects for the kids. And finally, thank you to Dan D'Elia, our science teacher. Normally the kids would come to his science lab to do all sorts of amazing hands-on activities. And Dan now visits each classroom with his cart, which has his sidekick, Mr. Skeleton, attached to it. Mm-hmm. And Dan has really taken the lead on initiating lots of digital experiences for kids, including gizmos and Generation Genius, which are, again, digital resources that kids can learn the ideas behind the science without having to put their hands on anything. So thanks for taking just a minute to recognize this great team of teachers. And again, not to diminish the work of everybody in our building who's doing an incredible job this year. But I really just want to say thank you for this team, to this team for going above and beyond and doing a great job.
Thank you, Mr. Butwell. Thank you, Penny, Dan, Raylan, Beth, Elizabeth, Dave, and Jonathan. Everything is very important. As we all know, the core is incredibly important, but Encore Humanities is very important too, to making sure that we're nurturing the whole child. And I think during this time, we have realized just how much our students miss school, and they really miss their humanities. And I am so grateful to all of these people who have really had to change the way, I mean, when you think about it, you can't sing. And music is more than singing, we understand that, but you can't sing in class. So just the amazing things that they have done to meet the needs of our students during this time. I am wonderfully appreciative to all of you. And like Mr. Butwell said, all of our teachers are really working hard. It doesn't mean that we don't appreciate that work too, but this is really a great accomplishment because we didn't know how we were going to do this, but you figured it out. So thank you very much to all of you.
Great. Thank you so much. Sorry.
No, it's okay. And Mr. Butt will now celebrate our WIS role model students.
Great, thank you. So we, again, this year, because of the changes in everything that we do, normally we have our school program, Woodside Pride, and, monthly recognitions. And so we couldn't have our monthly assemblies as we usually would. So we recently said we've got to get back to recognizing those students who are working so hard and coming in each day, putting forth their best effort. And so I asked each teacher to identify a student in their class that they felt was a role model. And the criteria would be students who come in each day, give 100%, work well with others. They're, team players and great collaborators with their the other students in the class. And in addition, also working hard to follow all the numerous guidelines that we have to help keep each other safe. So every single class at Woodside, all 21 classes, did come up with a student who they identified as a role model student. We recognized them over the loudspeaker. They earned a Woodside water bottle or magnet. And then I just randomly chose one student from each grade to be recognized at this board meeting. So tonight I'll be recognizing from 3rd grade Wesley Wayman, from 4th grade Nadia Korzoff, and from 5th grade Akshita Bethula. And there was a very short video where I just talked with these students about their great accomplishments.
All right, I'm here with Wesley from grade 3. Wesley was one of our role model students during the month of February. Hi, Wesley.
Hi, Mr. Butwell.
And during this month, I asked teachers to tell us about a student in their class who was a role model, who worked well with other students, always gave 100%, and also was doing a great job keeping others safe through our social distancing. So Wesley's teacher, Mrs. Palazzo, this is what she wrote about you, Wesley. She said, Wesley follows directions the first time given every time. He puts in 100% effort into his school every day. He is a hardworking and kind classmate. Isn't that great?
Yeah,
So good job, Wesley. We're super proud of the work that you're doing. How are you enjoying Woodside this year?
I am enjoying it. This is my first year at it, and it is very fun.
Good. Well, we're so glad you're here, and thank you so much for working so hard this year. You're one of our role model students, and we're very proud of you.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you, Wesley. All right. Hi, Nadia. This is Nadia from Miss Holman's 4th grade class, and she is one of our student role models. Nadia, congratulations. I just wanted to read for you, Nadia, what Miss Holman said about you. She said, Nadia goes above and beyond on all her work. She always challenges herself and works incredibly hard on everything that she does. She has such a positive attitude and loves to learn. Not only is she extremely conscientious and responsible, but Nadia is also a wonderful role model to her classmates. She follows all of our classroom and school expectations, including social distancing guidelines. Nadia is thoughtful and considerate to her classmates. She has a kind heart and is a leader in my classroom. Nadia, congratulations. Those are kind and wonderful words. So I just wanted to say thank you for all of your hard work this year. I hope, even though it's a crazy year, I hope you're having a good 4th grade year. All right. Thank you very much, Nadia. Have a great rest of your day, okay? Thank you. Okay, now I'm here with Akshita from grade 5, Miss Germano's class. Good morning, how are you?
I'm good.
Congratulations on being a student role model. You were chosen as one of our grade 5 student role models, so thank you for all your hard work. I just want to read for you, Akshita, what your teacher said about you. She said, Akshita is a hard worker who always goes above and beyond expectations. She is always excited to learn and loves being challenged. She is such a great role model to her classmates and is very engaged in every lesson. Awesome work, great job.
Thank you.
We're so proud of you, and thanks for coming to school every day ready to learn. Are you sad this is going to be your last year at Woodside?
Yeah.
But next year on to the middle school, right?
Yep.
All right, well, thank you, Akshita. Thank you for all of your hard work. We're very proud of you.
Very sweet. Congratulations to Wesley and Nadia and Akshita. That was great. That's why we're here. We're here for all of our kids, and I appreciate all the efforts they're putting in every single day. It's not easy for them. It's actually incredibly hard, but they're just happy to be here, and we are happy to be working around the pandemic to try and make their lives as normal as possible. Thank you, Mr. Butwell.
You're very welcome. It was my pleasure.
Great, thank you. Just for the record, Catherine Russ and John Flanders are on the call. Catherine, could you just confirm you're on?
Yes, I'm on.
Thank you. And John Flanders, could you confirm you're on?
I am.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to correspondence. Any correspondence, Dr. Macri?
No, not at this time.
Okay, public comments. Nobody signed up for public comment? Okay.
No.
So no public comment tonight. Okay, reports from student representatives. We'll start at the high school. So Devin Hunter, the floor is yours.
The Student Council had their annual leadership conference last week. They made hearts for the district's teachers and staff to say thank you for their continued dedication. The National Honor Society is selling Munson's chocolates again. The World Language Club is holding a virtual meeting with a community member to learn about Greek culture. Winter sports have officially started and all athletes are happy to play again with proper safety measures. Yesterday, the boys and girls basketball teams played against Valley Regional. The boys team won with a score of 50-43. The girls team also won with a score of 49-33. On Thursday, they both play against Coggins. On Saturday, the boys hockey team played against E.O. Smith and Tallinn. They won 5-2. Their next game is this Saturday against Tri-Town.
Hunter, anything from you? Devin, is that all from the high school reps?
Yes, Hunter couldn't make it tonight.
Oh, okay, thank you. Okay, CMS, Audrey Austin, the floor is yours. Audrey Austin? If you're on mute, just unmute yourself. Okay. Thank you. Sorry, go ahead.
The Math Counts team had their chapter competition on February 5th in the CMS library. Students were able to come in after school, safely space out, and compete virtually. It was challenging, and all competitors scored well. Saina Kikanamata, an 8th grade student and 3-year Math Counts participant, will be advancing to the chapter invitational, which will take place on February 25th. Coaches Mrs. Ballas and Mrs. Perglisi are very proud of all the competitors. We wish Saina best of luck. Student council members created Valentines for students at the Adelbrook School. Each of the Valentines contains some Play-Doh, stress balls, stickers, and positive affirmations to remind students that they are loved, smart, and brave. We are hoping to make this an annual event. Student Council will be working alongside Conquer Brain Tumors to raise awareness for childhood and brain tumors. Conquer Brain Tumors is a nonprofit organization founded in part by a Cromwell student, Trista Pereira. This upcoming Thursday and Friday, students are encouraged to bring in $1 and to wear gold and gray. All donations will be made to Connecticut Children's and the National Brain Tumor Society. This afternoon, 8th grade students, the staff, had the opportunity to listen to a presentation from Marian Blumenthal Lazang, a Holocaust survivor and author in the memoir Four Perfect Pebbles. Mrs. Lazang recounted her experiences in Germany during the Holocaust, the struggles and the horrors she lived through, and ultimately her path to freedom. Her emotional and powerful presentation stressed the importance of being kind to one another and ensuring that historical events, such as the Holocaust, are studied and remembered, so that we learn from them and prevent them from reoccurring. Thank you to the PTO for supporting this presentation.
Great, thank you. Any questions for our high school reps or middle school reps?
I just like to say thank you to all of you. It's Dr. Macri, and I was on 2 Zooms at the same time. I was trying to listen to Mrs. Blumenthal-Lazen today as well, and she was fantastic. And just to hear her tell her story was so powerful. And what stuck with me was her perseverance, and she has been through one of the worst times that anyone could possibly imagine. And she just explained that she had a mother who never let her lose hope. And that was what kept her going the entire time, that there will be brighter days. And it was just so fitting with will be brighter days. And she said that, and she was the most loving, kind woman, and she enjoyed her time with our students. I would love to talk to her for hours and hours, but she was wonderful. And so I feel very privileged, and that she took the time, and I believe she was with her brother, who was helping a little bit in the background, but truly an amazing story, and I believe our children got a lot out of it, including our staff members that were on it. So a big thank you to her for joining us today.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments for our student reps? Okay. Thank you as always. Okay, reports of liaisons from Town Council and Board of Finance. There will be no Town Council update tonight. Mr. Fortenbach could not make it, but I believe we have on John Arlen from the Board of Finance. John, are you on?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Good evening, everybody. Board of Finance, we're going to have our February meeting this coming Thursday. We should be able to start really getting the process going for what's going to come for the next 2 months or so, with getting everything set budget-wise, and should be able to have more of an update for you on the next Board of Ed meeting after we meet on Thursday. It should be on YouTube. If you want to join in, it's going to be riveting. Please take all the time and watch us. But if you don't, like I said, I'll try to provide an update for you on the next Board of Ed meeting.
Great, thank you. Any questions for John? Okay, thank you, John. Okay, Superintendent's updates and responses to BOE comments, action items from prior meeting. Dr. Macri. If any.
Yes, I do not have any. I'll just include them in our reopening in our budget.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, on to next, presentations and reports of administration. Item A, 2020 to 2021 Public Act 1360, consolidation of non-educational services. That's reference A. Is that going to be you or
Yep, it'll
Dr.
be me
Macri?
just very quickly. We are required to do this by law, Public Act 1360, to provide you with an itemized list of the estimated costs for the maintenance of public schools for the upcoming fiscal year, and the act concerning the consolidation of non-educational services with the town of Cromwell. We continue to work very well together. We've added on some more projects. I'm very hopeful together, working with town manager Salvatore and his team, Ms. Sylvester and Mr. Spino. We have a list. I know it's small to see. You need a little magnifying glass, but if you just look in the last column, those are all the things that it's updated for 2021. So we are continuously working with the town on procurement of fuel and gasoline and field marking, painting. We share parks equipment. The sewer department does our plowing. Procurement of grounds equipment, paving projects. These are all things that we do together, and there are more on the back page that if you have any questions about. We are currently collaborating on quite a few different things. So it's been very beneficial. It's beneficial for us. It's beneficial for the town. It's extremely beneficial for our students and the taxpayers. So tomorrow evening, this will be presented, Thursday evening, will be presented by Mr. Litwinzik and Chairman Matrullo to the Board of Finance because Ann and myself are in negotiations. So we are required to share this information with this town and with all of you every year.
Lori, question or comment?
Just a comment that I literally used the magnifying glass. and I brought it from home. I was like this with my readers and the magnifying glass.
We had a Lisa and I, we laughed about this hysterically. She tried to blow it up, and then she's
my
like, I
gosh.
said, just don't worry about it, Lisa. We'll use a magnifying glass.
Yeah, I did.
Thank you, and sorry. But just to echo Dr. Macri, so I will be going to the Board of Finance meeting on Thursday to present that with Tommy, so everybody knows. Any other questions or comments
Jeff,
from the
it's
board?
Selena. Can I?
Oh, yes, Selena, please, go
Jeff,
ahead.
can you hear me? It's Selena.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Just that question I asked you. The question I had asked you about earlier about it looks like there were two documents that were supposed to be attached, unless I'm reading it wrong. Was there a budget and then also this consolidated list, and am I missing the budget piece?
So, in reference A, the second paragraph says, based on this legislation, please find attached a copy of the proposed facilities operations and capital outlays budget. Is that supposed to be attached to this, Dr. Macri?
Miss Burke, that is the attachment, correct?
The packet that I have, I actually didn't print it. I'm trying to save a tree. It's just the one I brought from my own documents. So the packet consists of the memo, a copy of the facilities operations budget, a copy of the outlay budget, and then that spreadsheet that's impossible to read. But you have those documents anyway. They're in your budget binders. So if it was not attached as a reference, we can make sure that it's in the minutes, but it's no different than the one that is in your binder.
It definitely.
Nothing.
Oh, okay. Thank
You're right, so Ms. Kelleher, you're right. Isn't attached, but it's in the references, I believe, that was sent out. And then it's in your budget binder. But let me double check, and we'll include it in the references again, and then send it to you electronically. But it's definitely in the binder. I know exactly what Anna's talking about.
Thank you. Any other questions
Okay,
from the board?
thank
Okay, hearing none, moving on to new business. Item A, action, approval of minutes and motions from the January 26th, 2021 meeting. Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Dipty, second by Lori. Any comments or questions? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The motion carries unanimously. Item B, action, approval of minutes and motions from the February 9th, 2021 meeting. Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Jen. Is there a second? Second by Lori. Any comments or questions? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions? Lindsay, it looks like you were absent
Jeff,
for that
this
meeting.
is Lindsay.
Okay. Abstention by
Yes.
Ms. Murley.
Abstain, please.
Thank you. Otherwise, the motion carries unanimously. Okay, item C, reopening plan update. Dr. Macri.
Okay, I will try to keep it as brief as I can. There is a lot of information. As you all know, the governor announced yesterday that teachers, school staff, anyone working with students in schools will be eligible with the 55 plus group starting on Monday. So this is it's brand new. So when I was finding out yesterday at 11 o'clock, Mr. Neshi hadn't found out about it yet. He met with his team of people. The goal is to create, what we'd like to do is to be able to create at each school district, or at least regionally, create pods where we could go and get vaccinated and not have to go to other facilities. However, the reality is that right now we do not have the amount of vaccine that we would need to do that. Cromwell received, I believe, Mr. Neshi said 62 vaccines, and they actually had to cancel today's first dose administration so that they can have the second dose, enough for the second dose. So this is an issue. We don't have a 100% answer. I am working with Mr. Neshi. Mr. Neshi is working with the Regional Local Health Coalition, which includes Middletown and Durham. And once we have a plan, and it's solidified, we'll share it with the staff, and I'll share it with all of you. We are very happy that that staff members can go on through VMs. Everyone is set up, but they can't go on until Monday, and schedule their appointments if they'd like to. Schedule them at any facility, their doctor's office, wherever they can, and get the vaccine. However, as soon as we ourselves are able to do something in Cromwell, there are a lot of promises. We just don't know if they'll come to fruition as far as the availability of the vaccine. Then we will open up those clinics, whether it be a town hall or in our schools. We don't know. That's all still under discussion. So that's all I have for the vaccine, except for we were told by DPH that while school staff will be vaccinated, hopefully, at least get the first shot by the end of March. We're hoping, but it's a good start. That is the update on the vaccination. As far as returning, we are ready to go to start and give a full in-person learning start at the middle school and the high school. We, as of today, as of yesterday, Cromwell High, we have remote parallel learners. We have 184. Many students have called, emailed, and their parents about returning to school full time. Middle school, 142. We're getting quite a few calls to return as well. Woodside, we have 71, and we also did get about 6 or 7 that have said they're going to return beginning Monday as well, and about 7 students. We have 76 remote learners at ECS, and we have about 7 that have already made the call to say they're coming back full time. ECS and WIS has been in full in-person learning. We didn't stop that. We had to, obviously, as you know, make some changes with the high school and the middle school for obvious reasons. It's a lot harder to cohort. So I've been working with the principals. The principals have been working with the teachers, the custodians, the CAF workers, the paras, everyone, families, to make sure that everyone understands, reiterate with the mask wearing, and making sure that we're doing the best to sanitize, wash our hands, clean the areas, all the other mitigation strategies, because we know as a school system, any school system, if you're not in the hybrid model, it is impossible to stay the 6 feet of social distancing. DPH epidemiologist Tom McCain, he did say he understands that. We're all in pretty much the same situation. If we stick to our mitigation strategies that we have been using, and we can roll out the vaccine sooner rather than later, we should be in a good place. We have spreadsheets with seating charts to the best of our ability. We know kids are kids. They're going to get up and move around. We're going to do our best to, and they are working with us. They're excited to be coming back. So we're as ready as we're going to be. I expect that we'll be doing more contact tracing. We had a whole 2 weeks without a case. We just got a couple yesterday and 1 today, but no contact tracing needed to be done. We have contact tracing down pat. We know what we're doing. We're prepared. Is there some worry? Of course there is. There will always be. But we're set, ready to go. We're excited to have our students back and get back to normal as best we possibly can. This can change at any moment's time depending on the positivity rate, which is very low right now in Cromwell and in the state of Connecticut. And it could change, as always, due to staffing issues. But we're going to be hopeful and welcome our students back with open arms on Monday. We can't wait to have them back. I think the hallways are a little too quiet for everybody right now. So we're looking forward to having everyone come back on March 1st. And that is my update, unless you have any other questions. I will ask Kelly to give a brief update on athletics. Ms. Maher?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi, the winter season is off and running with basketball, sideline cheer, and hockey. We're about halfway through the season, and indoor track has started practice last week, and they will be looking to have some outdoor track meets during the month of March.
Our students are taking
And our
it very seriously. Sorry, Ms. Maher, I was just
and
saying
our Pixel
how our students are taking it very seriously as far as being careful on how they socialize so that they continue to play. It's because if one person was to get quarantine or to get COVID, we would have to most likely quarantine the entire team. So Ms. Maher and all of her coaches have been doing a phenomenal job with communicating that message to our students, and they're doing a great job as well. So go ahead about the Pixelot cameras.
The Pixelot cameras were installed. They are up and running, and the scoreboard was just calibrated with it today so that it will have the correct score at the bottom of it when you are watching it from now on. And there's been a lot of great feedback with that today.
So we're very excited. There has been some changes, and people have asked to how many people we can have inside and how many people we can have outside. Schools, we're not truly inclusive of all of those rules, and we work like I said, we work with Sal and our health advisory team. As of now, events can have 100 people outside. I'm sorry, 200 people outside, 100 inside. We made a decision as the Shoreline Conference, CIAC, and DPH are not recommending fans, so we are not having fans. Interestingly enough, you can't have fans at sports events, but the performing arts, you could have people in the audience. So in order to be fair, if you had a student that was in a play and plays basketball, you would not be able to go see them play basketball in the same building, but you could potentially go see them in a play. So to be fair to all of our students and really to just keep them safe and being able to continue to let them do what they are doing, we have said that there are no spectators as of now. Things may change as more people get the vaccine. It would be very, very difficult, the parameters of how to contact trace and make sure people stay in their seats when we do allow a certain amount of people, which we'll have to figure out probably eventually. But right now, DPH and Mr. Aneshi is, let's get our kids back to school, and then we could worry about fans and spectators. And the cameras have been wonderful, so.
Just a question on the cameras. How does one access the feed?
Yep.
Is there a link to that, or?
Yeah, Ms. Maher, do you want to share that link with our board members?
Sure, I can share the link with the Pixelot. There is a monthly subscription fee. I can send all the links out to you tomorrow morning.
Can anybody from the public?
Oh yes,
Can you put it in the minutes?
Yeah, we could put it in the minutes, and we had a lot of. Kelly did a great job getting the message out there to the point of where we got the 1,000 members, but we can definitely put it in the minutes. It's on I believe it's on our website. Is it under athletics, Kelly, or CHS athletics?
I can double check that, but I'll send it all out to you tomorrow
Okay.
morning.
Great, and then we can have Paul Norrie put it up.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? Lori, please.
Yes, I have one, Jeff.
Oh, can I just have Lori go and then you, Catherine?
Sure,
Okay.
sure.
Go ahead, Lori.
I don't know if you were going to touch on this. Ooh, was that me?
It's okay.
You had mentioned at the last meeting that when we did go back that you were looking to keep Wednesdays a half day. So I was just wondering if you could comment on that, and is that for all 4 buildings, and how long do you think that you were going to do that for?
Sure. That's the next item on our agenda, but I'm more than happy to go. No, it's okay. I'm more than happy. Do you want me to? Okay. So I would like to continue at least through March. It is very difficult, and we had a conversation with the HASA superintendents today again about the difficulties that our teachers are facing with having to educate our students remotely, and then educate our students who are sitting in the classroom. And as they get better at it, it actually becomes more difficult because they realize what they need to provide to the students. And I know that sounds like an oxymoron, but it really isn't. When you realize that you have the capabilities of meeting the individual needs of the students, however, it does take more time and more planning to do so. Our teachers really want to provide those personalized experience for our students. They also have been doing some incredible work with curriculum development as well as we work on our scope and sequences during that time. It's just been a sigh of relief for them, and it's needed. It's much needed, and I would like to continue to do it through the month of March. We can look at it again and evaluate at the end of March, but it would be very helpful, very much appreciated, and very well deserved if we can continue at all 4 schools to have that release on half day for Wednesdays so that our teachers can plan and get ready for more productive and effective lessons for the learners who are streaming in and those who are actually right in front of them.
Follow up, Lori?
Yeah,
Yes,
I just
sure.
want to make sure. So at the beginning of the year, when schedules were made for like therapy, OT, PT, speech, and any other services that any students might be getting, if students were scheduled on Wednesdays after 11:30 or 12 at the younger grades, I just want to make sure that those services are still being delivered on other days and that those students aren't missing out on those services.
Yes, I see Mrs. O'Leary shaking her head. That's very important to make sure students aren't missing their services. And the other piece of it is we talked about like the rotation for periods 1 through 4 and then 4 through 8, making sure that every other Wednesday we're making sure at the especially at the middle school that the kids are not missing the same classes all the time. And we know that has happened, and it's happened with weather. It's we really want to try to avoid that, but absolutely as far as student services.
Catherine?
So my question was about the CIAC, and I thought that they had made an adjustment and were allowing some spectators in for sports.
Yep. So as part of the Shoreline Conference, and we all made a decision, and it really falls at the final say. I do work with Mr. Neshi. The final say does fall with him. I would, like I said before, I would be foolish not to listen to his advice because he's the public health official. So all of the Shoreline is still saying that we're going to follow DPH recommendation, and DPH recommendation is still very clear that we should not have spectators for sports. And that's today. That could change in the future. We have 2 to 3 weeks left to this season. Then hopefully we'll be outdoors and it'll be a whole different ball game. So as of now, yes, Catherine, we're going to stick to no fans for performances and for sports.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to clarify because I did hear either you or Ms. Maher say CAC is saying no fans. So just wanted to clarify for folks. Thank you.
Yes, sure. And we are, just to quickly let you know, we started having conversations about graduations, proms, project graduation, promotion ceremonies. We are still far away. Let's get our kids back in and let's get them here. But we are calculating and we're putting together plan A, plan B. We want to try to make our students have an enjoyable spring and to have them participate in what they should be participating as part of their age group. So we are already starting to think about those things, but we won't share any of it yet because we don't want to get anybody too excited until we know we could follow through. But we're making some plans. We're being proactive. so that we could really celebrate our students.
Can I just ask a question? Can we reconsider and rethink? I know the Shoreline came to an agreement, but I know there's only a few weeks left, but just maybe even reconsider allowing the parents of, like, 2 parents per senior on these sports be allowed to come in and watch their students live at home events.
So right now,
I can answer that.
Go ahead, Kelly. I was going to say.
I can answer that. Most of the schools right now in the Shoreline, 10 of them are not allowed to have fans, and out of that, 10 of them cannot play anyone that currently will have spectators in the stands. So, like, if we were to travel to another place that had spectators, we would not be allowed to play, as well as several other schools. So it wouldn't do any good for any of our schools because we wouldn't be able to play the other schools. Does that make sense?
So it would have to come from but it would have to come from the Shoreline League. Like, all the towns would have to agree that we'll allow parents.
It would really have
It's
to
coming
come
from our local health.
Okay. I strongly disagree with that. I understand I'm not a health professional, but I mean, I know that other towns are doing it, not in the Shoreline League, and they've been successful. And some of these parents have been supporting their kids through this journey. I understand it's about the kids, but some have been supporting their kids through this journey since they were 5 years old. And to not see them play in their last year of sports is absolutely heartbreaking. So it's just something that I feel strongly. I wish we would work harder to change it. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Any other questions or comments from the board? Okay, hearing none. To be continued, I'm sure. Okay, half-day Wednesday discussion. Is there anything else you would like to add to that?
No, I would just, obviously, I would like to continue that through the end of March and reevaluate at the end of March. It really looks at, we have to reevaluate all the time. But I would like to pursue and continue with the half days for March, and I will get that memo out to families tomorrow so that they can continue to make accommodations for their children.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, hearing none. Moving on. Proposed education budget 2021-2022. This is references D, E, F, G, and H. Dr. Macri?
Yes. So,
I'm sorry. Just to not to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
So just to pick up where we left off at the last meeting, we had asked Dr. Macri to go back and take a look at various cut levels and come back with recommendations to get us to those numbers. And this is sort of in response to that, though we've gotten some better news since last time, which Dr. Macri will present. But just as an overview for the board, this is not up for action or approval tonight, but it will be on our next agenda meeting, which I believe is March 9th,
yes.
For approval. That's really the last time we have to act on it. If needed, we can do a special meeting. But the idea would be to discuss tonight and then to move on the budget at our next meeting. So I just want to give that overview. Dr. Macri will give her presentation. We'll ask questions and then use the next couple of weeks to ask whatever other questions people want and get information in response to that. So
Great.
So
Thank you.
Dr. Macri, sorry about that.
It's okay. No, absolutely. That was perfect. Reference D, you'll notice I went back and with Ms. Burke and with our administration, and we looked at many different options. The most exciting thing about reference D, I will tell you that Ms. Burke and I almost broke COVID protocol because when we got the email that said that our insurance rate dropped to 5.5%, we came very close to hugging in the middle of Central Office. We went like this, and it was really hard not to hug. We were so excited. It was almost as exciting as when I found out that we have the vaccine available to our staff. So that was a huge savings of $101,662 that we didn't know about. a reduction in OPEB, which is benefits, employment benefits. So if you're retired and you still have benefits with us, we may contribute a certain amount. We saw a decrease. Mary Ann Sylvester shared the number with us, and this is the number that she provided Miss Burke, which is a decrease from what we thought it was going to be. So that was good news. So just right there, the luck of the draw, great luck on our side. We were able to cut 0.55 and get us to a 4.33% with obviously no complaints there. The
Can I
second
just ask a
page.
question about that?
Sure.
The insurance, the 5.5%, is that still an estimate, or is that is that closer to fixed, or still an estimate?
And my understanding is it is 5.5%. Is that your understanding?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so the next page, reference E, is a cut of 0.69%. And you'll notice that we talked a lot about our social emotional learning program, which is, there's so many things I'd love to share with you, but we are moving forward with Ruler, Mark Brackett's work, and actually I had from Cromwell Life an interview with Mark DiPaola, and Mark just happened, and working with the Youth Service Bureau, we are becoming affiliated, and hopefully we can have interview and work with Mark Brackett as well, because we want to bring this SEL to life for our students and for our staff members. So it fits with the SR2 grant. It fits beautifully, so we can shift that to the grant. So that's really just a shift, not a cut, but a cut to the LEA budget. The irrigation at CMS, Chairman Matrullo thinks the lawn looks beautiful, so we're going to leave it just the way it is.
I'll water it.
He's going to come and water it every day, and I'll expect you. It definitely does need help, but it's something we can, go without versus, other things that our students really need. And then the flagpole project, it does need to happen eventually at some point, but we can live without it for another year. That brings us down to a 4.19% without any impact to our students at this time. The next page, reference F, cut 0.91. Again, you'll see all the cuts that I just explained. This is where it gets a little bit more tricky. We said cut all capital equipment. That is a multi-purpose tractor, a carpet extractor, and one other thing, Ann or Tommy, I can't remember off the top of my head.
It's a mower.
Was it the mower? Boy, if Jeff.
Carpet extractor, a mower, and a tractor.
Wow.
See, I know this.
Look
budget.
at that. You know this inside out. That was great. So we did go to, we are in conversation with Mrs. Sylvester about perhaps bonding we need these things because our materials are old, and we might be able to bond, we may not be able to bond, but it is something that we can wait on, and if something breaks, we would have to replace it, obviously. But that would be our next place to go without affecting programming. We brought back cutting half of AP testing, so students would be required to pay for half, and their families, obviously, and then we would pick up the other half, and that's a cost of $12,513. No dollars, knowing that any student that is in financial need, that we will definitely pick up the cost. You did ask last board meeting how many students. We had 145 students registered for the AP test last year. We have 146 registered to take it for this year. However, they have not made their payments yet, but that notice either has gone out or is on its way out. Ms. DiFiore has Mr. Chapin, I know he was working on getting those notices out to families. Or Mr. Cuckle, Ms. DiFiore may not be on the line right now. It may be Mr. Cuckle. She had some.
I'm here.
Oh,
I'm
thanks.
Here.
You doing okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Chapin will be, I think he'll be putting that notice out soon. We've been working on a letter to go out to all the students who are taking AP classes. And so we'll have a better understanding in the next couple of weeks.
Perfect. So this will be our, we'll have an understanding of what that'll look like. If we were to cut, that's the amount of money that we would be responsible for. So cuts to CHS athletics, supplies and materials. Ms. Maher, we can ask Ms. Maher questions. These are things like mats and uniforms and other materials that we could possibly live without. However, there are some things that are safety concerns that we are looking to address sooner rather than later. We were going to wait until next year, but as we talk about them, we did have some happy little mice get into our mats. So we're looking for funds that we don't have for this year so that we can replace some of those mats, which would then take them out of next year's budget. But it is a safety issue, and we really need to make sure that we address it. So those are things that we could really, we can't have everything that we want, and that would not impact programming. Mm-hmm. Cuts to CMS athletics. So we have duplicative teams, and we have intramurals and we have interscholastic for everything at the middle school, which is it is definitely a wonderful luxury for Cromwell middle school students because most districts don't have both. It's either one or the other. We have both, and I can have Miss Cochiola explain if we were to cut that $7,482. She's going to give you just a quick explanation of what that would look like for Cromwell Middle School.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. What we did was we went through, those components of our sports program, and we tried to work it so that the 7,482 would cut the boys and girls cross country team. We wouldn't be able to compete with other teams by doing that, but we would be able to offer a cross country program to our students through an intramurals, which they would just compete with one another within the school. So that's what that means. We would just, take that sport and take it to a different level instead of being competitive within our conference. Does that make sense?
So, Ms. Cochiola, I just want to make sure we talked about this, but I want to make sure. Last year when we did cut this component. So if we were going to have the athletic component, we would be doing it this way this year. But because we didn't have middle school sports, am I correct? Or did we end up putting it back in? I can't remember.
No, we did put it back in. We just didn't move forward with our winter basketball and volleyball because of the COVID numbers at the time for us at the middle school.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I just had a little blast. I wanted to make sure that I was right. Okay, so that would be, we would have been able to offer, but, and we may still this year, but next year it would look a little different, like Ms. Cochiola just explained. So that gets us to a 3.97. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Ms. Coach.
Can I ask a quick question before you move on?
Sure.
From Mrs. Cochiola. So the cut to CMS, it's Catherine Russ, by the way. The cut to CMS athletics is strictly cross country and making it intramural and not an actual competitive sport.
Correct.
That's the only, okay. Which we had a lot last year when we looked at cutting it, just refresher. We had a lot of pushback from the community. A lot of people write letters in and a lot of concerns because that competitive feature of it and racing against other towns is what helped feed into the high school program. So I just remember that in case any of the board members.
Right, but this year was a little change as we came back. There were all but two within our mid-state state conferences for the middle schools, all but 2 teams were competitive this year. So this year it was a little different. The other teams
Because
from
of
other
COVID.
schools weren't participating in the competitive component because of COVID.
Right, which we hopefully will not have that. We may or may not have that next year.
Right. Hopefully we get to be normal.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, and the next cut, 0.93%. You'll notice it is a different version. We said we would cut all of AP testing fees, which means parents would be responsible for all of the AP testing fees again, and that would help us decrease slightly, and we would then be able to have cross-country, intramural, and competitive. So that's just the different version, and that's the only difference. And then the final cut 0.95%.
On this one, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So the one we're looking at, the 0.93, the CMS cut to lacrosse that you're just talking about, I mean cross country, that was put back in.
Yes.
You're not taking that out.
Right. It was put back in. Yep. And then we said all of AP testing would then be cut, would become the obligation of the parent. And I'm thinking, as I'm looking at it, and we looked at this 500 times. And what did we do? The difference between the 0.93 and the 0.95, I think the
All of AP and CMS and cross-country.
and cross country. But oh, that's right. That's what we did. Okay. We've looked at this 5,000 times and I'm like, so we would then, to get us lower to 3.93, we would have to then go to cutting all of AP testing and go back to cutting the competitive athletic cross country at the middle school to get us to the 3.93. Whew.
So the only difference between,
Laurie, can you just put your mic on? Sorry.
I should just talk.
Oh, no, go ahead. You have a question? Go ahead.
So the only difference between the cutting of the 0.93 and the 0.95 is
The CMS athletics.
The CMS, yes.
Okay, okay.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
I actually did it, and I was even confused for a minute, Laurie, so don't worry about it. Looking at these, back and forth. So this is what we came up with. I obviously, my thoughts. I really think we could go with, I leave it up to you. I think reference G would be my first choice. That is my first choice. We could then, we know that we would be going to the Board of Finance. We could go with reference H. G or H are the two that I am looking at. But you can have a discussion and let me know, where, and this won't change unless you want to see flip-flop a few things. We can have Ann work on those numbers.
So, Laura, do you have a question?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, going back to reference F, where we have half the AP, what would it be if we kept it at half the AP and put back in, took out that cut to CMS? Because the next page has all, I'm just curious, because the next page has all of the AP testing fees. So if we just the only change to reference F, I'm just wondering what it would be if we did not cut the CMS cross country.
Lori, your brain works like my brain. Miss Burke, explain to us, because she had to explain it to me too. I asked the same question. So, Ann, do you want to explain to Miss Cantwell Remember the conversation, we had the same conversation in your office?
I'm not exactly sure what the question is. You want me to
Okay, so on the reference F,
do what? Half of the
just keep, the only change I want to see is, because right now it's 3.97, if we didn't not make the cut to CMS and we left in the cross country, what would that raise it to?
And this was
Okay, so
the conversation we
you're looking
had.
at the version at
Look at reference F, and it's
3.97.
yeah, look at 3.97. This was the conversation you and I said. I said
Yeah.
to you, well, why don't we just bring back, make the AP testing,
Half. Leave it, cut it half, and then.
make you're saying have the parents.
I'm just curious if we leave it at cutting it in half so that the parents.
Isn't it 3.99?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's right
okay.
there.
So I was saying the opposite of what you were saying. Yes. So, and
Isn't it 3.99?
Yeah.
it's about 3.99. Yeah.
Yes,
We looked at that too when I was trying to get
It
us
would be 3.99.
9. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so then that wouldn't really make that much of a difference then, adding in. Okay, never mind.
It's a very, very small percentage.
Yeah, $7,000 now.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
$7,482 difference. Yeah. It's a tiny percentage. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So we can open it up. I would echo Dr. Macri with reference G as my preferred approach. I think it strikes a nice balance. And I think most importantly, we're not losing any social studies teachers or curriculum cuts, which I think, again, from my perspective, was the goal of the budget. So
we had a a really good conversation, and we were talking about, okay, well, what do other middle schools have and what do they not have? And we talked about curriculum and programming, and we definitely said we can't think of too many middle schools with a grade 6 that don't have social studies teachers. Like when you really think about it, you all know how I feel about social emotional well-being, and I'm definitely bringing back those 2 social workers that I'm going to ask for next year. But we are a middle school without social studies in grade 6. Let that sink in for a minute, because as I let it sink in, I said to Carrie, I said, that would be a really interesting survey across the state of Connecticut. And we talked to Miss Newman today, and we're like, yeah, there probably isn't one middle school, because we do follow the middle school model, the team model. Social study is very important. And it's not that our teachers don't want to teach it. Our grade 6 teachers, they work very hard. But it's a different model. And with the social studies teachers, we're getting so much, our kids are getting what they really deserve. We're getting to put focus back in, which then we can service our students who need intervention, but also need enrichment, because it's actually an extra period. We need it. It's time for Cromwell Middle School to offer social studies the right way in grade 6.
So are there any other questions or comments from the board? Requests for information? So again, we're not voting on it tonight, but next meeting we will be voting. Jen, please.
I would support.
It's Selena, Jeff.
Oh, Selena, I'm
sorry.
sorry. Jen has the floor. Can we go to you next?
I would support G as well.
Yep, sorry, I couldn't hear.
I would support G as well. I would even, I think, support F, but with keeping the CMS athletics and paying just half the AP fees. I'm torn about the AP fees. I'm very torn about them. I know there's so many schools where the students pay full, and that's very common. And then obviously we would cover those students who need it the most. But there is that piece of the more students that take APs, it helps our overall rating, and that's gonna obviously attract more people to our town. It helps our town in general. So that's where I kind of struggle with it. And obviously it's helping our students and our families. So, I struggle with having them pay full price, but I see why that benefits us in terms of saving money for the town as well. So I'm just a little torn on that one.
I will bring, do you want me to, Ann and I quickly can put that option in here as another option if you'd like me to, or we could just talk about it.
We can talk about it. We know what it is. So,
yeah, we know what it is. Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Jen. Anybody else? Dipti, go ahead. Just put your mic on. Thank you.
I think we talked about this last year, but I wasn't sure. AP, for kids that are reduced and free, that it's free, right? Yes. Okay.
Yes, we, students who qualify, who need support through free and reduced lunch programming and any other programming that informs us, and we get a lot of information. We definitely, it's free for those families. And then we have families who, you know, are right on the cusp, who are just making it work every single day. And having the social workers has been incredible with finding those families. We're packing food for families. We're doing things that we've never done before in Cromwell, and it's wonderful. We know who those families are, and we would definitely help them, absolutely, without a doubt.
Thank you. Selena, I'm sorry, I skipped over you. Go ahead.
That's okay. Thought I remembered at our last meeting that there was some discussion about students signing up for AP tests, and then they're not taking the AP test at the end of the year. So then we paid for tests that weren't being taken. I don't know if I'm remembering that incorrectly. So I'm just not quite as moved to support the testing fees. I'd rather keep the athletics, the cross country, which I think a lot of kids enjoy, socially distant. So that's where I fall right now. I don't know if it makes a difference whether it's half or all of it, but that's kind of where I am. So I guess I like reference G at this point.
Okay. Thank you, Selena.
Those are my thoughts.
Thank you. Anybody else? Lori.
Yeah, I like reference G too because my only problem with reference F was the CMS cut to the cross country, so I don't think we should do that. So that's why I like reference G. But I agree with Jen about the AP. So, but I think if we got to get down, that's a good number to be at. So I
agree.
think I would support it.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else?
Hey, Jeff.
No pressure. Yes, Selena.
Jeff, it's Lindsay.
Oh, I'm sorry, Lindsay. You sounded like Selena.
Oh, no, that's okay.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to agree, actually. I'm in support of keeping the athletics as well, and I prefer reference G, definitely.
Great, thank you. Anybody else?
Sorry, but isn't G the one that cuts the athletics? Everyone's saying reference G, but that's the one that eliminates athletics, doesn't it?
No, it keeps CMS intact. It says CMS athletics, but it says reduction 0, meaning it's going to stay as is.
Oh, sorry.
Nope, no
I'm
problem.
looking at it backwards. Okay,
No
that's
problem.
the one I support too then.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay.
Jeff, it's Catherine.
Oh, Catherine, please, go ahead.
So I just wanted to say that I agree. I think we're all pretty much in agreement to keep the cross-country team intact and to cut either half or all of the AP testing fees and have students bear the cost of that. So I'm in agreement with that.
Thank you. Okay, anything else? Okay. So hearing none, again, we'll put this on the agenda for an action item at our next meeting. I just want to thank Dr. Macri and her team for the hard work on this thus far. I know they've fielded a lot of questions and clearly put a lot of thought and effort into it, so thank you.
Sure. Thank you for your support. And again, thank you, like you said, to my team, our administrative team. They've been wonderful. They've come up with a million different ways of cutting, and we looked at them very, very carefully, obviously keeping our number one priority in mind, our kids.
Great. Thank you. Okay. So moving on, item 12, topics for future agendas and possible action to approve additional topics. Nothing to add from today's meeting, just that we will be voting, on the next meeting on the budget, so nothing there. Comments, updates, announcements from board members and administrators. We'll start with the people on the phone. Selena, anything?
No, thanks.
Lindsay?
Nope.
John?
Not a thing.
Okay, thank you. Catherine? Catherine?
Nothing.
Okay, we'll start in the room. Dipti?
I was really happy.
Oh,
Mr. Butwell really focus on the humanities team. They don't often get the recognition that they deserve, and I know from my own son that he came home and he said to me today, I wish we had 2 hours of band every day. So that's something, you know, that meant a lot. These teachers do a lot for our kids.
Absolutely. Jen? Don't read.
It's up to you.
Oh.
It's about my gift.
So I just got an envelope from Dr. Macri, which I will read. Dear board members, thank you very much for the beautiful gift basket filled with so many lovely items. I cannot wait to use all of them. You thought of everything to help me de-stress. I enjoy working with all of you to make decisions that support the students of CPS and improve their lives. Happy New Year, respectfully and gratefully, Enza. So, thank you. So.
I just wanted to thank you all. That was very thoughtful of you. It was interesting. CABE came on and met with us, and they said, we're working with the board chairs to make sure they know what you're going through, and it's been a really rough time. And I said, ooh, I got a really nice de-stressful basket. So it was very thoughtful of all of you, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Lori? Okay, anything from the administrative team? No? Okay. Hearing none, is there a motion to approve? Dipti, second by Jen. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstentions? The motion carries unanimously. We are adjourned at 8:16. Thank you, everybody.